Good morning, everyone. It's Richard Massey here from Arcserve. Hope everybody's well this morning. Welcome to this morning's WebEx. What we're going to cover this morning is some of the new cloud solutions from Arcserve. I'm joined this morning by Charlie Smith, who is our Senior Principal Consultant at Arcserve based in the UK. And he's going to assist in this WebEx as well. I'll go through the agenda in a moment. Just a quick note, if you have any questions, we will have a Q&A session at the end of this WebEx and this session. Just put them in the box on the right-hand side during the session as we go through, and we'll answer them all at the end for you when we get there. So this morning, we're talking about the Arcserve Cloud Hybrid solution, which is a new backup and disaster recovery service from Arcserve. Which is predominantly an extension of what we do with our UDP on-premise technology. If I just go through the agenda briefly, what we're going to talk about this morning is why use the cloud for backup and DR first of all, and then we'll talk about the Arcserve Cloud Hybrid solution itself and how it works and the theory of it and how it can help you. And then we'll also go through a very quick demo of the Cloud Hybrid backup solution. We'll talk about how this is licensed as well, and then, as I say, we'll have the Q&A session at the end. We're not scheduled to last longer than about 45 minutes for this session this morning. So, why the cloud for backup and DR, first of all? There's been a number of studies that have taken place fairly recently, and we've collated some of this information, and 71% it was found that have experienced downtime in the past 12 months. So DR is an important part of what we're going to be doing and talking about this morning in the cloud. 24% of SMBs fell victim to cybersecurity breach last year. Everyone's heard about all the ransomware attacks. Hopefully no one on this call's suffered any of that, but we all know what the difficulties are. And having a cloud-based backup and a DR solution can help with that pain. 22% of SMBs, only 22%, I should say, of SMBs feel good about the DR plan. Having a full DR plan is important to everybody, and I'm sure everybody on this call can appreciate that. And if only 22% of small businesses think that they've got a good DR plan, then there's something wrong there. I'll talk about this one, the cost for the business. Recent survey again from ITIC found that on average a business lost $300,000 per hour when there's downtime. In this modern day and age, in this always-on environment, we can't afford to have the downtime. So what we're going to talk about today is how you can be available all of the time through this cloud technology. 38% of those going to the cloud are driven to enhance their disaster recovery capability. Well, what we're talking about today is very much a backup to the cloud solution, but also the capability for DR. So I'm sure a lot of people have seen this before, the 3-2-1 backup rule. So in the best practice, you should create 3 copies of your data. One is the primary, and then 2 backups. 2, keep 2 copies. Keep data on at least 2 types of storage media. So a local drive, tape, any sort of other media, and maybe one of those could be the cloud. So one of these backups that you should take should be off-site. Now that traditionally is tape, but actually you can create that copy using the cloud now. And creating that air gap is traditionally done on tape and then taken off-site, as we all know. But the trend now is to move this to the cloud. And this Arcserve cloud solution can help you with an off-site copy of your data for backup and for offline, and also to provide you with that DR capability as well, and fully automate and in a separately secured environment as well, away from your site. So what challenges do we see? Everybody sees this, the data loss challenges, the risk of losing critical business data, disasters and ransomware, as we mentioned a moment ago. How does this solution from Arcserve help you with that? We're looking at helping you protect from the data loss, assure reliable data and disaster recovery, and the ability to recover quick as well. What about downtime? The cost of downtime, we mentioned it just a few moments ago, $300,000 an hour on average for downtime. Extended RTOs and RPOs and tape backups difficult to recover from. A tape backup can take, especially if it's off-site, just getting the tape back, recovering from that tape can take a long time. With a cloud solution that's available and always available to you, we can reduce the RTOs. We can give the peace of mind, giving an automated solution for DR testing as well with the solution that we're going to cover today in this session. What about the cost of the existing solution? Everyone who has an off-site backup or has an off-site DR center has to own or lease that backup center, and there's the cost of that DR center. There's double the equipment that you have to own as well for having a DR site as well. And those costs are amplified. In the recent survey that we did, we found that moving to cloud and moving away from having those DR center costs or those leased backup off-site center costs can reduce IT costs by 50%. And also management overheads as well. They can reduce also by 50%. And it will reduce the DR exercise by using a solution like we're proposing today from the Arcserve Cloud Hybrid. Compliance as well. Everybody in all countries needs to meet certain compliance, especially now with GDPR in place across Europe as well. Having a reliable disaster recovery solution can help with these compliance issues. And with this solution that we're proposing from Arcserve with the Cloud Hybrid solution, we're actually looking at a solution here which you can actually test your DR as well. So, the Arcserve Cloud Hybrid solution. Why Arcserve for cloud backup and disaster recovery? A lot of people on this call may already use Arcserve UDP, and Arcserve UDP is our snapshot-based, disk-based backup solution that we have that can be used on-premise and either purchased per socket, per server, or per terabyte. We also have an appliance solution as well, where on-site you can do regular backups up to every 15 minutes and also recover locally on-site from the appliance or from the software solution. And also from Arcserve, we also have a direct-to-cloud backup and disaster recovery service as well, where you don't need any on-premise solution. What we're discussing today is our cloud hybrid solution. Now, the cloud hybrid solution is intended to be an extension of your on-premise UDP software or on-premise UDP appliance solution. So all of the backups that you're doing on-premise at the moment and taking snapshots on a regular basis across all of your systems, all of your applications, taking those backups and being able to replicate them to a cloud-based solution, which you can do from Arcserve. And also being able not just to provide backup, but also to provide a DR service as well. So, the Arcserve Cloud Hybrid is a seamless, integrated cloud backup, disaster recovery, and business continuity solution. As I said before, it's an extension of what your current Arcserve UDP platform is. Or if you're not an Arcserve customer at the moment, obviously if you use Arcserve UDP, you can also access the Arcserve Cloud Hybrid solution for an offsite backup and DR solution. I'm going to hand over to Charlie Smith now to talk about the solution in a little bit more detail, how the solution works in terms of the on-prem and how we move to the Arcserve Cloud for backup and disaster recovery.
Thanks, Richard. So everybody, or a lot of our people on the call today have heard of Arcserve UDP, our on-premise data protection solution. And UDP has won a huge amount of accolades and market awareness over the last 3 to 4 years. UDP, as Rich has already kind of illustrated, does incremental forever disk-to-disk backup technology, and it provides very powerful global source-side data deduplication on all the backup sets, which can be managed by a backup appliance or a software deployed solution. So with the cloud now, we've opened a brand new data center in Manchester, in Media City, and this allows our UK and European customers the ability to extend their on-prem backup and recovery solution using Arcserve UDP to very seamlessly integrate it into our cloud. So essentially what we're providing is a virtual appliance in our cloud. Your data isn't shared with any other customer's data, so each customer gets a completely isolated environment that they connect into. And the two services that we provide, the first is backup as a service. So essentially we are replicating using WAN optimized dedupe around the replication to replicate your on-prem recovery points into a dedicated virtual appliance. And essentially you have an identical copy of your key backup data available for recovery. The great thing about this solution as well is that you can actually have varied retention policy between your cloud copy and your on-prem copy. So we see a lot of customers either using cloud as a replacement for tape. We talked about, you know, the 3-2-1 best practice rule there about having an air gap copy. And I think with crypto locker and ransomware attacks, the need to have an offline copy has never been as important as it is today. And I think what we've seen over the last 5 or 6 years is as people move more and more to online disk-based backups, a lot of customers have moved away from tape or wanting to move away from tape, and all of a sudden they've been told by the industry that tape actually is very good to keep an offline air gap copy. But what a lot of customers don't realize is that cloud can offer that offline air gap copy as well. And when you're replicating to the cloud, you're replicating to a complete separate security model. It's not an extension to your Windows domain or anything like that. So we have to go through secure SSL wrappers, HTTPS communication, and a completely separate login model to access that environment. So we provide a secure offsite backup and ability to extend your data into our cloud. It provides a long-term cloud backup as an alternative to local disk or tape for regulatory compliance. So we see customers now saying, you know, we want to keep 5+ years retention policy of monthly backups, for example, in our cloud. And maybe on-prem, they're only keeping 3 to 6 months or a year's worth of backups to recover locally. We also have an extension to provide DR as a service, DRAS, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. And we use the same technology as what we provide on-prem with the UDP in our cloud. So any customer that's familiar with the UDP, it really is very, very easy to set up that off-site cloud connectivity for your backup. And as we said, the data centers in the UK, I think with GDPR now being, you know, thrusted upon us, having your data kept in the UK and Ireland boundary is really very important as well. So that's for the service that we provide, and I'll go through in a little while exactly some of the services that we provide on that. We've also got DRAS, and what DRAS is an extension to the backup as a service. So as a prerequisite to DRAS, you have to back up your data and pay for cloud storage to hold and retain your recovery points in our data center. But once you've done that, we can extend that. We use a Hyper-V environment that we can actually spin up your replicated backups in our cloud using our virtual standby technology and our instant VM recovery, and we can quickly spin up virtual clones of your backup, and then you can access them over VPN connectivity if you ever had a local failure. One thing I didn't mention about the backup as a service as well is that there are different types of restore available, ranging from granular recovery all the way through to fully restoring the data store back onto your on-prem environment. So we can really help you recover quickly from a disaster. The DRAS is about keeping the lights on in the middle of that process. So if you lose compute or you have a major outage in your data center that could disable your backup server on-prem, we have the ability to not only recover your data, but actually keep the lights on and spin up the compute as and when required. Now, the data center itself, we opened this in May of this year. We also have 2 data centers in the US. In fact, we have a third one coming online soon, and we do plan to open other data centers around the world over the next 12 months or so as well. Now, the data center, common questions I get asked from customers is how secure is the environment? You know, it's an unmarked building, it has security fences all around, has biometric security, security guards, video surveillance. It's a very secure environment, you know. So you can rest assured that the data center is physically very secure, and we have all the top security arrangements in place to safeguard that physical environment and that physical infrastructure. But from a data perspective, obviously we use 256-bit AES encryption on all your backup data at rest, and when we send that into our cloud and it's backed up to the virtual appliance in the cloud, we're using the same level of encryption in our cloud copy as well. We also use secure socket layers and TLS encryption in flight to make sure the data can't be accessed as it's traversing across the internet. We provide role-based access control. We also have self-healing systems that are scanning for data corruption and to making sure that your data is in a good state of health, and we have processes that can kick in to run housekeeping tasks to make sure the data is always fit for purpose and ready for recovery. The data center provides 6 nines of availability, 99.9999%. So we have a very high uptime. We have server and node redundancy in control, so we can switch over systems if there was a problem with your virtual appliance, so you wouldn't even notice. It would actually, we have standby technology configured. We have multiple 10 gigabit uplinks into our data center to give you as faster access as your internet connection will allow. We would never be the bottleneck in uploading your data because the connectivity we have into our data center is superb. So we're pretty much adamant, you know, that whatever upload performance your WAN or internet connection can provide, we can back up the data as fast as that link supports. We've got 24/7 365 availability around our data center as well. And from a compliance perspective, Richard's already mentioned GDPR. Obviously, that's the big change that's happened in the last few weeks. But we're also ISO 9001 and 27001 certified. We're PCI DSS certified. We are SOX and Sarbanes-Oxley certified. HIPAA certified for the US, so we adhere to a lot of industry regulations. So you need to be rest assured that your data is in a safe place, and we work tirelessly to make sure that that environment is always available as you would expect. In terms of the actual services that we provide, I'm going to talk first of all about the backup as a service. So obviously you get RPS to RPS replication of your backup data from your on-premise appliance or software deployment. That means that we can take full advantage of our WAN optimized replication and dedupe technology. Essentially what it does is it utilizes the least amount of bandwidth as possible because we intelligently compare all the data blocks before we transmit any data. So we're only sending unique blocks across the wire to make up logical recovery points. We can also manage replication from your on-premise plans. So if you're familiar with UDP, we create these workflow plans, which are like policy groups of various tasks that you can execute. And then adding a replication plan onto that, a task onto that plan is really easy. And I'm going to show you that in the demo shortly. We manage recovery points retention in the cloud via UDP console and the cloud VM. So you can log on to your cloud console at any time to initiate granular or system recovery from that cloud. We've also launched a cloud-to-cloud data protection service for Office 365 as well, because natively UDP fully supports Office 365 for Exchange and SharePoint, and we've tested this already, that customers can do a cloud-to-cloud backup solution of their Office 365 where there's no on-premise involvement in the data flow. You know, you're taking data directly from the Microsoft cloud and pumping it into the Arcserve cloud and being able to do all the granular restore that you would do from an on-prem solution, but you're managing it from the cloud. I've mentioned the efficiency before. Our dedupe technology is superb, and it's really one of the crowns in our solution set of how well we manage and reduce the data on disk. But obviously, using that technology around our replication allows us to really optimize the traffic going across the WAN. In terms of recovery, we have different ways of recovering. You can actually mount recovery points in the cloud as a drive letter, and then use an FTP client, a secure FTP client, to pull down larger data sets of maybe you've got quite a complex directory structure that needs to be restored. So we can actually recover a complete sort of hierarchical directory structure using secure FTP, but you can also just simply browse the data and right click it in the console, and we can pull it down as a zip file through the UDP console into your browser as well. So there's different ways we can do granular recovery. We've also got the ability to provide reverse replication. So if you were ever in an unfortunate situation that you had a complete site outage, you lost your backup server as part of that scenario, we could actually put in a new appliance or build an RPS and actually replicate the whole data store back to your on-premise backup server. So you can then initiate full system recovery directly from your on-prem environment, God forbid. But we have that capability now because we have seen customers in situations where they've had a major hardware outage on a server, and they've lost some of their data. So being able to reverse replicate the data back is really a good thing. So we've got a really set of solid backup and recovery capabilities built into our backup as a service. We've also got DRaaS. DRaaS is an extension to the backup as a service, and this provides the ability to spin up your replicated backups as compute in our cloud. The virtual infrastructure is underpinned by Windows Server 2016 Hyper-V. So when you sign up to our DRaaS service, you also get access to a clustered Hyper-V environment, which is sufficient to the compute that you're licensed for. And we'll talk a bit about how we license the DRaaS at the end. So whatever your resources or requirements are to spin up X number of nodes for disaster recovery, we will provide a relevant Hyper-V infrastructure to support that environment. We will then generate virtual standby policies and to be able to boot up those systems when needed. And it's just a case of then invoking our virtual standby or instant VM restore to recover those systems. If it's a Linux environment, we use instant VM recovery. If it's Windows, you can use virtual standby or instant VM recovery. The network connectivity, we can provide a point-to-site or site-to-site VPN. This is configured by our cloud support team. So when you sign up with us, our cloud team will work with you to fully configure and test and enable and reenact a site-to-site VPN connection. And we test that on a regular basis to give you the confidence that when you actually need it, you don't have to mess around and configure it. It's already pre-configured. It's just switching it on, extending your network into our cloud, and being able to access those virtual machines as quickly as possible. We also provide the ability to fail back. We can back up the virtual clones running in that Hyper-V environment to give us up-to-date recovery points, reverse replicate the data back to your on-prem environment, and then you can actually virtual provision those from those latest recovery point copies replicated back and spin them up into your local environment after an outage has occurred. We do provide additional paid services, so if you need Active Directory in our cloud or additional public IP addresses, things like that, we also provide additional services that are available on request as well. So we provide backup and DRaaS as part of our cloud hybrid service. Just as I've mentioned already, the Office 365 stuff is really cool. I've heard a lot of customers talking about Office 365 and the need to back it up now, I think a lot of customers, when they first signed up with Microsoft, just assume that Microsoft protect everything for you, when in reality they do and they don't. They do have obviously a resilient infrastructure, and they do have limited restore capabilities, say up to 30 days of an email going missing, or a cloud or a document going missing. But for long-term retention and GDPR compliance, it really doesn't fulfill the full requirement that organizations need. And now we've had Office 365 protection within UDP now for over 18 months. And quite recently, we added SharePoint Online into our Office 365 protection as well. So we've simply taken that technology and tested it in our cloud data center. And I've actually spoken to a number of customers in the last few months asking if we provide a cloud-to-cloud data protection solution around Office 365, because for some customers it kind of makes logical sense to keep everything in the cloud. If your Office 365 is already in the cloud, that a lot of them are saying, well, why do I want to bring it on-prem to recover locally? You know, wouldn't it make more sense just to move it from one cloud to another and keep everything in the cloud? So now we can offer that service, and it's simply just licensed on the amount of storage we need to hold and retain your Office 365 backups. So it's very simple for us to calculate, and great service that it's all managed for you. You just need to log into the console to do your granular recovery of email items, etc., and SharePoint documents and templates, etc. So it's really straightforward to set up. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly go through how easy it is to set up Cloud Hybrid, and hopefully you'll see when I go straight into my demo. So now I'm in my demo lab now. This is basically my on-premise UDP console backing up my storage lab. This is a dashboard view. I've also logged into our cloud. So I just logged me out. I'll just go back in. So if I want to log into the cloud, it's very straightforward. Oh, I'll just need to pick up the security again. Sorry about this. You actually get sent a cloud credentials to connect. And when you log in, you will see a similar console to your on-premise, because it's the same UDP technology that we're using in our cloud data center. So when you log in, you'll get a similar dashboard. The data might look slightly different depending on your retention policies. And you can log in and see all the nodes. The great thing is when you replicate your backups into the cloud, they auto register the nodes into the console, so you don't need to manually sort of duplicate efforts in terms of the administration. It's all very automated. And what I'm going to show you now, going back to my on-prem solution, is how to add a cloud connectivity into your plan. So if I go into my resources tab here, these are all the nodes that I'm backing up, and I'm going to go into what we call our policy section, our plans. So if I select one of my existing plans here, this plan is a VMware backup policy. It's already replicating to another RPS that I manage in my own environment, and I've got copy to tape and virtual standby and DR testing and other tasks in there. But if I log into here, what I'm going to do now is add an extra task to replicate the backups in here into the cloud. So I just select add a task, very straightforward. And then in that task list, I just select replicate to a remotely managed RPS. So it's basically saving everything under task one is going to be replicated. And all I need to do here is add in my cloud server. So you get given the cloud server in our cloud, you get given the user account password. We use HTTPS obviously to secure the data, and I just press connect. And when I press connect, it will then show me what incoming replication policies I can connect to. So in our cloud server, I've got 3 policies. I have a gold retention, which is basically holding more daily, weekly, and monthly recovery points. Bronze retention is a reduced amount of daily recovery points. It's more for weekly and monthly. And then, silver, and then bronze is a lesser retention policy. So you can select different groups depending on your retention policies. And if you want to understand what these retention policies are in more detail, you just simply connect into your cloud console, and then you can see those plans here, gold, silver, retention. So if I actually want to see what that means, I just go in and I can go into the schedule here, and it tells me I'm going to hold 5 daily backups, 2 weekly and 1 monthly in the bronze retention policy. So it's very easy to understand what I'm doing. So I'm going to select that, press save, and away I go. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to kick off a backup in my lab, which will basically do a quick incremental backup. And then what you'll see is it will go through all the additional tasks in my plan, but it's now got a new task, which is being able to replicate to the cloud. And literally, you'll see it starting to upload the changes. The great thing is, because it uses global dedupe as well, when it's actually uploading into the cloud, any backups that have got similar blocks associated with them, it will start deduping against. So even if it's the first upload of a new VM or a physical server that you're replicating into the cloud, if there are backup sets that you've previously replicated into the cloud, it will basically upload there. So that plan's now been successfully deployed. I can kick off a couple of backups here just to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to run this backup, which is the one that we've just added. I've also got a Hyper-V plan in here that's also basically got replication to the Arcserve cloud in there. And what you'll see in a second is the task starting to run, and then as soon as a backup completes, it will start replicating up to the cloud. And as we've already discussed, in that cloud copy, you can then basically do granular restore. If you sign up for our DRaaS service, you will be able to do virtual standby, exactly what you would be able to do on-prem, but in our cloud. And then when you add the site-to-site VPN into that, obviously you can access those VMs from your network. We do IP switchover, so you would ping the servers on their local IP addresses. It would go across our VPN appliance, and we would translate that to the internal IP address running on the Hyper-V hypervisor. Now, one thing I didn't explain is that our virtual provisioning technology works across hypervisor. So you could be backing up VMware, physical servers, even a hypervising using one of our agents, such as KVM or Acropolis, and we can spin them all up into Hyper-V in our cloud because our provisioning works across hypervisor in there. So you'll see in a second that these tasks will kick in and it will start uploading into the cloud. It's really that straightforward to set up. What I'm going to do now, I am conscious of time, so I am going to go back to the presentation in a second. But if anybody wants to see a more in-depth demonstration of our cloud hybrid, looking at restore scenarios as well as the backup configuration, we have been more than happy to do that. So I'm going to switch back and allow the presentation to continue. So just 2 seconds.
Okay, thanks, Charlie. Thanks for that. Okay, guys, so very simply, we've just shown a way of managing to do the local backups on a regular basis and DR locally, and also to have an off-site air-gapped copy into the Arcserve cloud, backed up on a regular basis up to every 15 minutes, and also be able to do disaster recovery into our cloud as well. And that's what this is all about. Now, you don't hear these two words very often, but I'm going to cover the licensing and subscription for this. But you don't hear the words simplicity and predictability when it comes to cloud very often. But the way that we've designed the subscription licensing for our cloud is all about being simple and predictable. It's based on a per terabyte basis of cloud storage used. So it's the target storage that's in the cloud, which is the used space after deduplication and compression. So whatever space you need in the cloud for after dedupe and compression to store a full backup and as many recovery points as you want is as much cloud storage as that you will need. Now, we've designed it to be done on a per terabyte basis. So in terms of volume, you just work out how much volume that you need in there, and we have an annual subscription price based on the amount of terabytes of storage that you actually need in the cloud. So if you need 15 terabytes of storage in the cloud, then you'll be in the 11 to 20 terabyte storage tier. And as you go up the tiers, the more terabytes you buy, the cheaper it will get per terabyte as we go through. The pricing itself has been designed. We took a long, hard look at the market and cloud subscriptions. And as I said, we wanted to make it simple and predictable. By knowing how much you're going to pay on an annual basis and how much storage you've got, that should give it the predictability and the simplicity that you need from a cloud backup and disaster recovery solution. For the DR side, what we do on the DR side, you need to work out what you need in terms of a DR. So work out the servers that you need to protect and how much RAM and virtual CPUs that they actually require. So, and we do the tiering for pricing for the DR side of this based on the amount of gig of RAM that you need in our cloud. This again is done on a 1-year subscription. It includes DR testing, and you can use it at any point for DR testing, or you can use it in real DR situations to spin up your servers into our cloud. The total, you total up the RAM that you need, and then again purchase on a per gigabyte basis the amount of RAM that's required in our cloud, and that gives you access again all year round. So if you needed backup as a service, you purchase the amount of terabytes that you need in the cloud, and then if you need the DR, you just simply add on the amount of RAM that you need in our cloud as well, and they come in multiples of 4 gig. And again, as you go up, the more you need, the lower price per gig it actually is. Okay, as per the table. So what next? We've discussed the cloud hybrid in detail today. Obviously, the Arcserve Cloud isn't just about cloud hybrid. We also have our direct to cloud service, and also we have an archiving to cloud service. Now, I just want to mention the promotions that are available to the end of June. We've just launched the cloud hybrid service fairly recently, and at the moment, if you purchase 1 terabyte of backup as a service in our hybrid solution, you will get another one free of charge. So pretty much you're doubling the amount of storage that you can have for the same cost at the moment with the cloud hybrid as a launch promotion. With the cloud direct, this is the backup solution to the cloud where we don't need an on-premise solution at all. We are doing again 1 terabyte of data in the cloud, and you'll get another terabyte free, and the same for the cloud archiving as well. And that's available till the end of June. So what next? Well, you can head to the website. On our website, we have a cloud solutions page, which covers the cloud hybrid solution. It covers the direct to cloud solution, and it covers our cloud archiving solution on there as well. There are a number of data sheets on there around the cloud hybrid to give you a little bit more detail if you didn't get enough detail from today's session. You can also contact an Arcserve specialist as well. info@arcserve.com, and an Arcserve specialist will answer your questions, and you can request a further demo there if you require. Or, of course, you can call us on the number that's on the screen at the moment. Or of course, if you want correct pricing, just contact your reseller for that pricing, or reach out to us at Arcserve as well, and we'll get a partner to give you the pricing for our cloud hybrid service as well. So I hope that's been useful today. I'm going to just now go to the Q&A section. We've had a few questions come in already during the session. If anybody has any questions at all, then now's the time to put them in the box on the right-hand side, in the questions box, and ask those questions. But we'll rattle through a few of these questions. So Charlie, you there? Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Cool. Right. So let's rattle through these. So the first one, I think you might have covered this, but we've got a question here that says, is the data encrypted in transit and or at rest?
Yes, that's a good question, Richard. The data is encrypted in transit. We use HTTPS and secure socket layers around the replication, but the data is encrypted using 256-bit AES encryption when it's laid at rest. So your backup local copy will be encrypted. Even if you don't use encryption locally, the data stored in our cloud will be encrypted regardless. So obviously, if you encrypt it locally is your choice because it's how you've configured UDP on-prem, but the copy sent into our cloud is always encrypted, and that can't be changed. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of questions. Hang on a second. Okay, what happens if you reach or approach your subscription level? So we're talking about here if your year's subscription and you reach the limit. You actually get warnings in the console as you're reaching a limit. I believe that's right, Charlie.
That's correct. Yeah, we tend to warn, and then basically you get given a period of time, like 30 or 60 days, I think, to remedy the situation. So you can extend. Obviously, we can co-term the extension of the storage to be termed into your annual subscription. So there is options available to then extend the storage, or if you're adamant that you don't want to pay for any more storage, you need to reduce your retention policies in the cloud so you can meet the storage requirement that you're licensed for.
And then just request an extension of the, like, obviously you need to buy an additional terabyte of storage, which we can prorata into the original subscription as it's getting to that point. Okay, so let's go here. So what internet speeds are you getting in the data center? I'm not sure.
Well, we've got customers that have got gigabit link connectivity getting phenomenally fast data speeds. We've got multiple 10 gig links going into our data center. So we are confident that whatever your internet upload speed is capable of delivering, we will be very close to that limit as you're uploading your data into our cloud. So we will not be the bottleneck if there is a performance constraint. Obviously, the faster your connection, the better, to upload as quick as possible. We do have obviously charts and guides that can advise customers, depending on what their upload speed is, how long it's realistically going to take to upload data into our cloud, etc. So we can provide additional information, but we have very fast connectivity into our data center.
Okay, so the next question is the bandwidth cost for replication? I think that's pretty easy. We don't charge for the bandwidth. All we're charging for is the storage in our cloud, and obviously for the DR in our cloud. This is designed to be fairly simple and kind of predictable. So we're not charging for any uploads and downloads. I'm assuming that answers the question.
Yes.
So does the local RPS need to be on a version when updates come out? How does that work? So I'm assuming that the local RPS needs to be on the same version as the cloud RPS. Yeah,
it's best practice that we keep our UDP. Currently, it's 6.5 update free, which is the latest maintenance level for UDP. We tend to warn customers in advance that we're upgrading their virtual appliance in our cloud to the latest update, and then we try and advise and with our support teams to work with you to get your environment upgraded around about the same time. UDP is backwards compatible, so if there is a situation where, for example, UDP 6.5 update 4 is launched in a few weeks or whatever, and we decide to upgrade in a month's time, if customers are still on 6.5 update 3 or update 2, it's backwards compatible and it will work. But we do, as a best practice, recommend that customers should try and upgrade to the latest maintenance levels as soon as they practically can.
Okay, so I'll answer this one. How long is the 1 terabyte free for? Just for the first year or ongoing? The buy a terabyte and get another terabyte free is just for the first year. It's not an ongoing promotion. It's a promotion that's running now, so it will be for the first year of subscription. Or you can buy multiple years of subscription up front. So if you wanted to take advantage of the buy one get one free terabytes for this and wanted to do it for 3 years, we can organise a 3-year subscription if you want to take advantage of that promotion up front if you wanted to do that. Okay, how many DR tests are included with DRAS? Do you want to take that one, Charlie?
Yeah, I think you can do it as often as you want. The DR testing, we have assured recovery, which is the ability to spin up your VMs as instant VMs from the backup storage in the cloud into your Hyper-V environment. So you can run that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and have it running on a fairly regular basis. So we don't put a limit. As long as you're licensed for DRAS, you can run the assured recovery testing in the cloud as often as you want.
As long as you've got DRAS, you can test it as many times as you want and do the tests or do a real DR. That's not a problem. Can you spin up an instant VM from a cloud backup on your own Hyper-V host?
Yes, you could replicate. I'm not sure if I fully follow the question. Are they saying directly from our cloud backup?
I think it might be directly from the cloud, yeah.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to do it direct, but you could certainly replicate the backups back into your local UDP environment and then spin them up in your local Hyper-V environment, for sure.
Yeah, so we already use or replicate to a remote RPS. Would like to have a third copy. How does this work? Is that possible?
Yes, I've just answered that. Yes, you can add multiple replicate to remotely managed RPS tasks into a plan.
Okay. Okay, let's have a look. Right. Do you need to be licensed for Prem Plus on-site for you to be able to use DRAS testing in the cloud, i.e. cloud features match on-prem features? So, well, the DR features, the assured recovery premium features are in the premium.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you would need to be licensed for premium, but not necessarily if you sign up for DRAS in the cloud. If you're just doing the testing in the cloud, you wouldn't necessarily need to have premium on-prem as long as you weren't doing the testing on-prem, if that makes sense. So you could have a situation, for example, a customer's on UDP Advanced, doesn't do local DR testing, but he signs up for DRAS in the cloud. He could do testing in the cloud.
Okay, I hope that answers that one. So on the dedupe, is the cloud storage deduped as well as the on-prem storage?
Absolutely.
And also, so I just what is the level of deduplication set in the cloud as well?
Yeah, I think it can vary. The default, I believe, is 4K, but we can change it, if whatever the customer's comfortable with. So I believe the default's 4K, but if we need to increase the block size for whatever reason, we can do that. We just basically configure the data store to match the customer's on-prem data store if that's what they would prefer. So it's all configurable.
Okay. I'm just looking here, Charlie. Is there any more questions that I've missed? If I've missed any, we'll answer them. We'll send you an email afterwards. Or if you want to drop us an email at amirinfo@arcserve.com, we'll answer them. We'll pick up all these questions. Is there anything I've missed there, Charlie?
I think we've got the main ones there.
Covered. Okay. Okay, listen, guys, any questions that we haven't answered, we will endeavour to send an email out to answer your questions or get someone to get in contact with you. I've just put the contact details on the screen again, just in case anybody missed it. If you've got any further questions, just drop them over to amirinfo@arcserve.com and we'll answer those questions for you. It's not a problem. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. It's been a pleasure, and thank you from me, and thank you from Charlie as well. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll speak again very soon. Thank you. Bye.